Hi again, everybody. It's Kevin Knessa coming to you from the newsroom of The Observer and TheObserver.com on this, the 5th day of December in the year 2022. Sure hope you're enjoying your Monday, no matter where it is you are in the country. And as you do each and every Monday, you welcome me into your home so that I can bring you this week's news. And from the left side of your screen, this week's front page, Christmas kickoffs. Now, lots going on last week in Kearney. It started actually in North Arlington, where they had their tree lighting, and Kearney had its Christmas tree lighting as well. And then in Harrison, the Elks joined together with the Portuguese Cultural Association's riding club, and they deliver Toys for Tots to children up at St. Barnabas Medical Center in Livingston. So in the past week, there was quite a few really, really moving events that took place. And in Kearney, I know Linda DeIsa worked her tail off to get the UEZ's annual tree lighting and holiday festival together, and it was very, very well attended. And as always, there's great entertainment, and then the festival itself is nice, where people can go over and get pictures with Santa and with other things Christmas related during the course of the night there. So that's always an enjoyable event. The lighting in North Arlington too, as you can see in the front page, it's the picture on the bottom to the right-hand side. Dan Pronti, the mayor there, and the council, and a whole bunch of people as well over on Ridge Road. And the picture next to that is of Pete Santana and his son and wife. So all in all, the last couple of days have been very, very busy. This is always the way it is in this neck of the woods. It will continue to be that way in the next few weeks. We are part of a toy drive with the Kearney PBA, FMBA, and CS11. So if you would like to donate, you can drop off items here at the Observer office Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And you can also do the same at any time at police headquarters at Laurel Avenue, fire headquarters on Midland Avenue, and then, of course, at the DPW garage on Bergen Avenue. So I'm sure there'll be plenty more as the next few weeks go on. But believe it or not, here we are, 20 days away from Christmas already. That's hard to believe, isn't it? I can't even fathom that it's December, let alone 20 days away from Christmas. So good luck with all that. But hopefully, if you're so inclined, feel free to drop off your donations here or at any of the aforementioned locations before. The bottom of the front page is not so festive. And this goes back to the incident that took place last Friday, where a woman was holding police at bay for hours. She was threatening to shoot herself. She didn't, thank God. She ultimately gave herself up, but in the process kept police there for about 7 hours, maybe even longer than that. And she's getting the help she needs from a hospital, but she's also going to be charged too. Spoke with Scott McPhee, the deputy police chief, and he tells me she'll be charged with aggravated assault because at the beginning of the incident, something we didn't necessarily know about until later on in the day, there were some workers next door who were doing construction, and she pointed the gun at them, and so that's where that charge will come from. So while she does have charges that she will face, she's also getting the help that she needs, and hopefully it will stick. So a very, very intense day, but a great job by everybody. Unfortunately, that day, as long as it was, everybody went home. So you can't ask for more than that when everybody goes home after a laborious day like that. We go to the inside. This is a very police and fire-related issue this week. It just happens every so often. It was 3 years ago this week that Detective Joseph Seals lost his life. He, of course, was a Jersey City police detective, and we remember that day. You know, Lisa and I were just even talking about it the other day. We listened to the whole thing unfold on a police scanner, and it was just so intense to hear those gunshots right through the radio. And Detective Shields was a North Arlington resident who lost his life. He was way, way too young, left behind a wife and children. And Douglas Miguel Rodriguez was a Harrison resident. He lost his life as well. He was a clerk at the deli where a lot of the shooting took place, saved a lot of lives, did Douglas Miguel that day. But we look back at that day, sadly, 3 years ago, when Detective Seals and Douglas Miguel Rodriguez both lost their lives on a horrifying day. Really, it's hard to believe it was 3 years ago, but we think of them and their families at this point in time. There was, of course, as you probably know by now, a burglary to the ATM at the Exxon station on Kearney Avenue early last week. And Detective John Fabula, who is handling the case, has already collared one of the three suspects. You can see his mugshot right there. He is 19 years old, of Newark, and apparently had escaped from a juvenile detention facility. Yeah, he's 19, but I guess whatever the crime it was, I couldn't find it as much as I searched for it. He apparently escaped and was out burglarizing gas stations and mini-marts and taking cars and ATMs. So that was just delightful. But Fabula was able to collar one of the three guys, and I'm pretty certain that they're going to get the other two as well. Talk to the chief, and the chief firmly believes that those other two are identifiable and will eventually be brought to justice. They took away the ATM machine, had $1,000 in cash in it, and within 24 hours, this guy was already behind bars. Speaking of older cases, the Lyndhurst Police Department made an arrest in the October bomb threat that went to Lyndhurst High School, and the perpetrator was a 15-year-old kid out of Brooklyn. 15-year-olds calling in bomb threats so that their friends could all hang out. Isn't that just lovely? I don't know, but he used identity anonymizer, but it didn't work. The alert Class 3 law enforcement officer, or Class 2, forget what it is, and a crossing guard saw this kid who looked suspicious, and they nabbed him, again, out of Brooklyn, 15. The KPD, this guy, this main piece in the blotter from Captain Tim Wagner is about a man who allegedly beat up his girlfriend, left, and then they issued a warrant for his arrest, and he turned himself in. Very, very crime-filled newspaper this week. But here's something good, finally. This is a woman. Her last name is, I think it's Coughlin. And she just turned 100 years old. And Mayor Mike Milham visited her with a proclamation and flowers and some other goodies as well. And apparently she owned a home that had the first ever in-ground pool in the history of Belleville. So, 100 years young. Check that out. Great thing. It was nice that the mayor went over there and met her. And then this is another harrowing story. So we go from finally something good to another negative one. Well, next week's paper is going to be much more positive than this. I'll tell you this right now without even knowing what's going to happen. But this poor woman in Nutley in her 70s was built of her entire life savings by two people out of Lyndhurst. These scams, man, they're real, and they're so easy to pull off for some reason. I mean, how many times we've said this. Talk to your elderly friends and neighbors and relatives and make them aware that these types of things are going on. This was just two people who befriended this woman and said they needed money, and she, out of the kindness of her heart, gave it to them. And her whole life savings is gone. So just take a look at the story, you'll see. But it's just happening so much. I'm just so sick and tired of hearing these cases where people lose their whole life savings from these unscrupulous idiots who just have nothing better to do than to prey on the vulnerable and the elderly. So sickening. Jason Bernstein has 3 pages of sports and 3 sports stories this week, so we'll hope you'll check those out. Basketball related this week, hockey last week, and now we're into the basketball previews. The season begins in a couple of weeks. The class of 1970, I had to hold this for a while, and I feel bad, and I apologize to Pearl Bueller and to Evelyn Carson and to all the members of the 1970 class of Kearney High School. But their 50th reunion was supposed to be in 2020, and we all know what happened in 2020, so they weren't able to have it. And they finally had it in, I believe, September of this year. So it was their 50 second reunion in a sense, but Pearl and her committee did a phenomenal job of pulling this together, and they finally got to do it after having to put it off for 2 years. Thank you, COVID. And they had a fantastic time. So I want you to check that out when you get a chance. Congrats to the class of 1970. And this is something that is pretty cool. The classes of 1973 from St. Cecilia High School and Kearney High are going to have a joint reunion in Toms River in May. So if you're a member of the class of 73, Patty Blood and one other person are putting together this reunion that will be a joint reunion of the two schools. I think that's great that you can do it that way, especially since St. Cecilia High School no longer exists. This is a quick piece that Caitlin Mota sent us this morning. There was a crash in 2021 on Route 7 that injured 2 people seriously, and a man from Connecticut turned himself in on that and has been charged in the case. Fortunately, nobody died, but it was a very, very serious crash right where Route 7 and Harrison Avenue, Newark, Jersey City Turnpike intersect. So check that out as well. Now, just wanted to let you know that there are 2 pages of classifieds as well this week. If you are looking for an apartment or a job, plenty of things available in this week's edition of The Observer. And also the senior play for Kearney High School, we didn't know about it until about a minute ago almost, is Friday, and we're going to put something on our website, so I hope you'll look for that. And if you're available Friday, I'm not sure the whole details yet because I haven't actually had a chance to read it. Came in a little bit late, but the senior play is coming up this weekend at Kearney High School. So we're going to post something on our website. Check it out, and if you're able to go. They always put on phenomenal musicals and plays at Kearney High School. It's a very, very talented department. The students are just phenomenal as well. It's been that way since I can remember, going back to the days of Marty Hoff and Jerry Facito and Lou Pandolfi. So, and it continues to this very day with Kathy Estrella and Kevin Crawford, who sent the email. I'm not sure what Kevin's role is, but check it out if you can, and we'll have it online sometime today, or if not today, tomorrow morning. And that's going to do it for this week's edition of The Observer Live. I want to thank each and every one of you for joining me tonight. We will be back 1 week from tonight, but if anything happens during the course of this week, we will join you live with that as well. From the newsroom of The Observer and TheObserver.com, Kevin Knetz signing off for now, and we hope to see you back here again very, very soon. Good night, everybody. Take care. Stay warm.